we founded a company called HIP. 2 years later, we sold 50% of it to Alibaba and Alipay at a valuation of 100 million. It's now being led by my good friend over there at the back, Anthony Thomas, right? So I know what it's like to try to start a company with 15 people, grow it to 700 and scale it to a couple of 100,000. Starting with 5,000 downloads in a month and bringing that up to something like 100,000. So just some thoughts about how we think about growing this. So every Facebooker gets to go to Menlo Park, right? Some of you have heard this story, so Anthony, apologies, right? So being a Filipino, I did a very Filipino thing, which is I took a selfie, right? That's called the like sign. It's right in front of the Facebook offices. What many people don't know is actually what's behind the like sign, right? It's this company called Sun Microsystems. So for those who are old enough in the room to know, Sun Microsystems was a fairly large company, right? But what happened was because a disruptor, Facebook came in and basically took over their campus. Sun Microsystems no longer exists, right? Basically, Mark was asked why he kept the sign, right? So basically he said, I want to make sure that everyone remembers what happens when you stop innovating. You end up at the back of someone else's sign, right? So hopefully the goal of everyone here is not to build the next Sun Microsystem, but it's to build the next company that puts someone else behind that sign. So, state of disruption. So I'm going to date myself a bit. I'm going to show a picture of what my desk looked like in New York in 1999. So I had just graduated. I studied in Pennsylvania. My first job was in New York. It literally looked like this. Not actual picture, but it looked like this. So all of that stuff, whether it's a Rolodex, it's a globe, so a calendar go away, a newspaper, right? So one by one, people like you was taking something like this and it was breaking it and saying, why do you need a calendar, right? Why do you need a physical photo frame? Why do you need this? Why do you need that? They've all become apps, right? And now in 2016, all of them are actually now on your phone, right? So that's disruption. When you talk about, Manny mentioned it earlier, how Filipinos consume globally, right? The average person comes through 300 feet of feed on mobile per day. Just to give you guys an idea of what that scale is, right? It's the Statue of Liberty. So each one of you, on average, goes through enough feed the height of the Statue of Liberty. So what is it, when you look at this mobile revolution, basically what's happening is we're moving from, I'll call it a classic way of looking at things to how you in the room view this. Oops, sorry. It's expressed ideas, right? This is a group of, I'll call it innovators, people who want to build stuff. You express an idea and you want to develop it. So what is it? Successful disruptive companies, they give people what they don't know they like, but in a way that they've always wanted. So I'll use Grab, right? So Cindy, another good friend of mine is here. She's the CMO of Grab. No one ever knew that they wanted to access an app to hail a crowdsourced vehicle, right? All they know was they wanted something better. They wanted to be able to travel and pay by credit card without having to debate the price with the driver, being guaranteed safely getting somewhere else, right? So as a disruptive company, always think through how you can deliver that. Something someone never knew they needed in a way they've always wanted. And guess what? It's the microwave generation. So they want it now and they want it fast. So this is the Fortune 500, right? So when you talk about disruptors, what do you guys want to do to the companies that are here? Only 12% are left from 1955. What's worse is it's accelerating. So when you look at it, the average lifespan of a company on the Fortune 500 is 15 years. What that means is 50% of companies that you see today on the Fortune 500 will not be there 15 years from now, right? They're not all going to go bankrupt. They're going to get bought up by someone else, by someone bigger, by someone better. But that's the state of disruption that's being driven today, right? So how do we define disruption? So not just new ideas, right? We need to stop having old ones. Two things. How do you, as disruptors, solve age-old problems in exciting ways that makes old solutions obsolete? How do you take someone and make them a statistic where you destroy their company, where basically you become someone else's sign, right? How you do it is you do it over this. Most everyone wants to build something now on this, right? But what's interesting is because mobile doesn't create new rules, right? What mobile has done is given everyone the platform to create your own rules, right? So it's all about building to break. And building to break is basically, a college computer science person saying he wants to connect the world. It's someone saying, I want to build an electric car that's just as nice as a Ferrari, right? So, how can you do it? 2 versus 680, right? Get a company of 2 people, right, in a year, try to compete and build something with 680 employees, right, and more than 20 years in existence. As an example, this has been done. This is basically an example of Hubble. What they've done is they've used mobile. They created a purely mobile. They buy from someone, they market on Facebook, and then they have it delivered to your home. So basically, a company of 2 people, right, similar to the people here in this room, built a company that's now worth $210 million, right? Built and marketed all over one platform on Facebook, right? That's how you do it with 2 employees. So how do we enable disruptors like everyone in the room? You have to be discovered, right? We talked about you creating something no one has seen before. Right? So for example, if you're a new massage app, right? No one knows to go to an app and say, I want to book a massage now, right? What happens is you need to get discovered because people want a massage and they want it delivered in a new and exciting way. So you have something like Xenia, right? One of our partners. That's how you get discovered. You get discovered on the platform through that. So stats, right? I'll just leave it up there, but basically, what it just says is most people get discovered on the platform, intent gets created on the platform, and most people complete on that platform. So you run more, you test more, you earn more. So just quickly and finally, right? Prove it, sell it, scale it. What does that mean? Let me just give a quick example. Sorry. So prove it. You have an idea. How do you gain adoption and legitimacy? So let me just share an example. I want to use an example that's not an ultra sexy app, right? So that's my wife, and that's our dog. So he's a 6-month-old standard poodle. His name is Scotch. We never knew that he liked chicken feet, right? Well, how did we discover it? Basically, she saw this on her feed. She saw an interesting ad of a dog, right, looking at a piece of chicken feet. This is a company called Offect. Right? What they do is they take different animal parts, whether it's a pig ear, it's a chicken feet, and so forth. They dehydrate it and give it as a treat. It's run out of a house in Paranaque, right? But somehow, they found out and got discovered that my wife has a new dog, right? They got discovered on feed, and my wife now orders with them all the time because, again, it's all mobile, you get discovered. They've proven an idea and it works. Right? So you prove it, you test, you optimize, and you pivot. You identify, you test, you optimize, and you pivot again. You then start to sell it. Let me just run it all, right? You guys know this, right? It's a cycle of measuring, you test it, you execute, and you reallocate. And then finally, what everyone hopes happens, right? You get your business and you scale it. Right? You have to think of how do you automate it so that more and more people can do it so that the 2 people can compete against the 680, right? So you prove it, you sell it, and you scale it. So with that, I'll just end there with like a final note, right? Average companies optimize on profit. And believe me, you'll be one of those 15 companies, one of the, in 15 years you're gone because you're not optimizing for something more valuable. Good companies optimize for value, right? So if you have a car, you improve that car, you make it more efficient, right? But great companies great companies optimize for the future. So if I use our own example, right? It was created by someone, a college student in his dorm room saying, I want to connect the world, right? So he optimizes for a future, and that's how you build great companies. Doing that for the future, though, means that you need to break stuff, because you will fail, right? You need to know how you break boundaries, how you break rules, right? Which is why we say you need to continue to always build to break. With that, thank you very much. My name is John. We're here, Sheena's here. If you have any questions, we're happy to touch base over beer. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, John. So obviously, like we talked about 3 steps, and if you all want to build to break something, I think one of the critical parts in any entrepreneur's life cycle is getting something to fund that idea you have, so you can go and build to break. So funding's super important, and we have Fireside Chat right up next by. I'm just gonna wait for the. So to talk about the funding side of things, we've got a fireside chat between JJ, founder of Original Pitch VC, and Franco Varona, who's going to moderate the chat. I'd like to invite you guys up to stage.
Hi everyone, thanks very much for joining us again at Wild Digital. Really, I'm going to move over here actually, it's better. Really my role here is to highlight this gentleman over here, JJ. If you're not familiar with JJ, of course, he's got a long history in real estate and a pretty recent history in venture capital. So this man is probably one of the more prolific investors.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and JJ Atencio. I'm glad to be here.
Can we get a round of applause for JJ, please?
I was able to see some people I haven't seen for a while, so if only for that, this coming to this event was really good for me. So I'd like to say hello to everybody.
Great. So anyway, JJ, we're here for you. We're here to learn a little bit more about you and pick your brain. Maybe we can start a little bit with that. You know, you started in real estate, and you spent a few years in real estate, and only in the last year have you transitioned to venture capital. Why? Like, why did you get into it?
So as you know, real estate is one of the classic brick and mortar. So the industry is very conservative and everything. The thing with business is that you've got to be innovative, you've got to be disruptive. And so in order to find out more about how new industries, new applications for technology, then you've got to somehow go into venture capital. The thing with businesses in the Philippines is that they're fragmented. And therefore it's going to take a lot of time for somebody like me to actually search for businesses that I can talk to and that I can learn from. So one of the ways I made it more efficient was to put up a company called Original Pitch. It's a venture cap, and then when we advertised that we were holding a pitching event, about 100 applications came. And so right from the get-go, you already had 100 possible companies that you can work with. So that's actually the background of that. We want to expand the horizon of real estate to include technology.
So a year into it, what would you say are your favorite industries to invest in? Types of companies? Like what excites you?
So, you know, this thing got into a life of its own. So when we heard the pitches, we actually narrowed it down to 20. So from 100, we said 20 allowed to pitch. What we discovered was that there's really a lot of nice original ideas out there. One of the things about original pitch is that we will invest in companies that have an original idea. So we don't want to invest in a wheel because it's already been discovered. We don't like to invest in companies that describe themselves as the Uber of the Philippines or the Airbnb of commercial leasing. So we want to always look for something original, because with originality comes state-of-the-art creative thinking on the edge of a certain horizon.
And what kind of investor are you? Are you really hands-on? Do you like to have a say in the businesses that you invest in?
So I've been doing this investing for about 3 years. I have in my own personal portfolio maybe 12 companies that ranges from chemtech to fintech to some more fintech, because that seems to be the flavor of the month, fintech. I've also invested in brick and mortar like apparel brands, art galleries. So it's a mix. And one of the things that are common to all of them is that somehow they're either creating a new product like the chemtech. They're actually innovating in such a significant way, and that's fintech. Or it's a different kind of idea about how art should be bought and sold. So it's always looking for the original thing.
Okay. And are you still open to look for more companies to invest in today?
Yes. So what happens is that in 2018, I retired from the real estate company. So I have more time to go to events like this, meet new people, find out more about the idea, find out more about the story. You know, at the end of the day, yes, I did say we're looking for original pitches, but we're also looking for certain types of people. At the end of the day, investing is not about investing in an idea or investing in a software. It's about investing in people. So,
and what type of person is that?
So when we get them, we'd like to see people who are honest, sincere, etc. Who actually will look at their startup not as a way to actually grow the startup and then exit. So what kind of a business is that? So we're looking for entrepreneurs that are committed to the business, grow it, own it, and get partners like us, and we can all share in the profitability of the company through a very clear dividend policy. When I started talking about dividend policy in the tech industry, some of them actually laughed at me and said, "Sir, we don't intend to stay long enough to actually have a dividend policy." So if that's the case, then why should an investor actually go to the company? Diba? So we'd like to stay long term. Original pitch likes to add value other than just money. And so we'd like to be somehow strategically involved because original pitch is composed of myself for general management, Francis Emizim for startups, Magellan Fetalino for fintech, and then we also have Attorney Datu for the legal and Kevin Ko for the equity portion, for the valuation.
So today we see a lot of investors that are interested in the Philippines just because it seems to be the last frontier, right? What makes original pitch different from all the others that are coming?
It's not really different. Is that for one thing, we're open to investing in new businesses. Right now in the portfolio, we probably have about a dozen. And since I'm retired, every day there's new proposals coming in of many kinds. Tech, a hotel in Palawan, for example, is there. A cacao plant in Surigao. and then you're looking all of this. The nice thing about having tech is that you're able to technize something that's brick and mortar. So, for example, when I now look at the cacao plantation in Surigao, I'm also going to think, and if the proponent is also like-minded, how do we technize cacao growing? How do we use technology to actually make farmers' lives more efficient, to increase productivity, etc.? And therefore, the whole game of cacao growing becomes rather interesting to somebody like me who's really not a farmer.
Okay, and I guess just to wrap it up, I wanted to get your insights. I mean, what are your thoughts on, the startup industry today? Where can we see some growth, and what's most interesting for you moving forward?
I think we're all growing in the seams. I like the data that was presented earlier. There's 4 common space work areas. Now there's 41. I also have a common workspace, and so let's see where that goes. So there's a lot of ideas being generated at the time. What I'm really concerned about is that this new digital economy is going to be a reality very soon. It's already too big to ignore, and if we're not part of it, we're going to be left behind. And so the challenge for businesses that are brick and mortar, real estate, retail, is how to elevate your business and make yourself a platform. Because the digital economy is going to make all the businesses work through platforms or evolve themselves into one. So that's where I see this thing is going. It's a brand new field. I like being in the digital economy because I get to learn something new every day, which is, not so in other industries I've been to. So it's also a learning experience. You meet fun people. You meet people who's got ideas coming out of their ears. So that's always an interesting conversation.
And do you have any final messages for any of the entrepreneurs out here?
Guys, have fun, stay strong, and be true. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, JJ.
Thanks a lot, JJ and Franco. Great advice for everyone in the room. Next up, we have a very special announcement from Enrique and Erman that I'd like to invite up to stage. So come on stage, guys.
Funding.
Erman, you in the room?
Thank you for the funding.
We're going to give you the address of the after party.
So everyone pay attention.
How's it going?
Good, welcome to Manila.
Thanks. It's great to be here. I don't think we need to sit down. Look, we're not going to take too much of your time, but what we wanted to do is just take a really brief moment to share some exciting news. We are really, really proud and really, really excited to announce a partnership between Common Ground and MVP, and we're going to be bringing Common Ground to the Philippines. Our first venue is going to be in Arthurland Tower, which is right across the street. It's going to be a beautiful penthouse co-working space, and it's going to be launching in the second half of the year. So really excited to share that with you and hope to see you guys all there.
I just want to say that we're so excited for our partnership with Patrick and Erman for Common Ground. Catcha is a great partner to have. I really admire what these guys have done across so many of their portfolio companies. And I think with Common Ground coming to the Philippines, we can elevate the co-working space industry and also work with all of our colleagues to help convert all boring offices into co-working spaces. So our new office building is across the street, Arcalam Tower. We just inaugurated it earlier this afternoon. So when you drive out of Shangri-La, please look at the shiny building in front. Common ground will be in the penthouse.
Imagine common ground in the penthouse. Thanks, guys.
Exciting news, guys. Really excited for that launch to happen. So I think before we wrap up, just want to touch a little bit on the Wild Digital KL event. So Patrick mentioned that we have this every year. It's a flagship event. More than 1,000 people come to the event. All the leaders in the tech space are there to present, to network, to meet everyone. We've had great speakers, great lineup of attendees. So really hope to see all of you there. You get to see the full version of Patrick's thought leadership on the air prediction in Southeast Asia. So if you sign up today, we're actually offering an early bird discount if anyone's interested. So please find one of us, like we got the beautiful ladies with Wild Digital t-shirts, or one of us over here, and we'll be happy to talk to you about it and tell a little bit more and give you a discount. So we'd love to see all of you in KL. So that concludes the presentation part of the night. So before we adjourn for drinks, I'd just like to thank our sponsors, MyG Philippines and Facebook, who so kindly sponsored this event and made it all happen alongside us, and all the event partners over there who helped make this a huge success. Really hope all of you enjoyed the event, and a lot of interesting points, a lot of key takeaways, very exciting announcement. And now on to the fun part of the night. Please enjoy. There's drinks and food. There's food outside. Please, there's a lot of great people in the room. I think everyone who's someone in the tech ecosystem here is in this room. So please introduce yourself to someone and make new friends. Thank you so much for coming, and enjoy the rest of the night.